Hello, so welcome to the start, what is going to be the start of round 2. So we're on our way to the circuit now. Got a cameraman this time, so Chris is here behind the camera, going to help us out this weekend, getting the vlog done. We've got Youngin in the back, so I know they'll turn my comments off if I get him on camera, so we're not going to get him on camera. So yeah, welcome to round 2. We're on our way to the Three Sisters circuit at Wigan.
Just went black, bro.
Yeah, it does. It's got like a 30-second.
Oh, oops, my bad.
You know, like a screensaver.
Yeah.
It's still recording.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're on our way there now. We're about. It's not a bad run from where we live. It's quite a local track. Probably the most local one on the calendar for us. So we'll check back in when we get there. I'll do a quick track walk later. I am conscious that the round 1 video was like 3 hours long because I put a lot of footage in. So I probably won't try not to get as much. But obviously I don't want to take away from the experience of the weekend and showing the watchers what we get up to on the retro weekend away. So yeah, we'll check back in when we get to the track and then we'll go from there. Right, welcome back. So we're just about to pull into the circuit now. We're on the Three Sisters Industrial Estate, I think it is. So if we look just in front, here we are. Welcome to Three Sisters Circuit. You can see some people out on track today for Friday practice. Circuit's just behind that barrier there. Probably see it over the top there, you'll be able to see it there. I can see the circuit now. Looks like a busy paddock for Friday lunchtime. Okay, so we'll go and get set up, and then we'll probably do a track walk this evening. We'll do a full international circuit track walk, which is what we're doing this weekend. Okay, so I'm just walking through the paddock now. I'm going to nip over to the reception. I think I'm going to just book on for half a day while it's kind of dry. Get some laps in. See how the kart's feeling around here. It's quite a long circuit. I think it's the longest circuit on the calendar. We're doing the international this weekend. Yeah, so I'll go and sign on half a day now. Go and do a few laps, and then we'll check back in later. And once the racing's finished for the day, I'll do a bit of a track walk later, and you can see the circuit. All right. Okay, so just showed some footage there, the first practice run of the day. We've changed the gearing, obviously it's a different circuit, so the gearing has changed while my gimbal's playing up. Yeah, so we put different gearing on for this circuit. The engine's running a little bit rich, so we're just going to look at some of the times now for that. See where we can change anything. See if the gearing's the problem, or if maybe the engine's not producing enough power. Obviously, I had a bad accident here last year where I seized on the back straight going up the hill. So ideally, I don't want that to happen again. So we're running a bit richer than normal, which in turn loses us a bit of power. So we're just going to try and find a happy medium to get some power, basically. Okay, so I'll check back soon. Okay, so just been out for the second run, as you've seen on the last video. Then we knocked a second off the pace. We're still not on a good race pace, so we jetted it down, but then we didn't jet it down because we tried it with different gearing, so we'll change one thing at a time. So we'll probably jet it down for the next one. Hopefully we'll get a bit more at the top end. We were just having a conversation about how going up the back straight and over the hill, you need to feel a bit scared, and I'm not feeling scared. So once I get to the point where I'm feeling a bit scared, then I know I'm quick enough. So that's how we're gauging it. It's a fear gauge. So we'll go again soon. We'll see how we get on. Hello, so welcome to the Friday evening track walk. The corporate carts have only just finished, so we've only just got a chance to get out before it goes dark. So we've entered the track over here. You can see the entry onto the circuit just here, and then we go around this corner here, and where these cones are here, so we don't go this way. It's this way that we go. So, walk with me. Okay, so we want to sort of take a tighter line around this corner here. So the cart needs to be positioned ideally around here, and then as we come onto this shorter straight here, the cart kind of washes out a little bit over here a bit, and then sometimes you'll sort of just miss the curb here on the way out. You want to kind of swing it all the way out, really get the power down round here and carry the speed. And then as we come onto this straight, we sort of readjust ourselves to do this tighter left back up the hill over here. So yeah, we slowly want to come across the circuit towards this side, and I don't know if you can see the rubber marks on the circuit here, where you hit the anchors hard here, and then we're going to be doing a left up this hill. So it's based on sort of the what I've been doing and learning the best lines for this part of the track. It's quite a deep entry, so you can see over here. You want to be right over here at this point. Now, the problem you've got here is like a lot of cars and bigger things use this circuit. So the lines are different for all, different types of racing. So, and I mean based on the scale, not obviously. So it's quite a deep entry into this corner, and then as we go around, I feel the quickest line is probably a really late apex over here. Yeah, so a really deep line, and then if you hit the apex really quite late here, like a mid apex will be somewhere over there, but quite like the later apex more here, and then that kind of swings you out to go up this hill a little bit, and then over to the right hand side here, and then along here, and then back around. Just trying to see where my son is because he's gone out on the track on his scooter. And I can't see which way he's gone. Like a little recovery truck there. Okay, so like I say, out of this corner here, and you want to be right over on the right hand side here, almost onto this patch here. And then it's sort of bang it up a couple of gears here, and then if you can carry the speed nicely into this slower section here. Oh, I can see him there. yeah, so now that I can see my son, I'm a bit more content with what I'm doing. Yeah, so right along this edge here, and then if you can get it right, you can get around here without dropping a gear, which I've managed to kind of do. You'll have seen from the onboard footage. There's no down a gear here, and then you kind of sweep across here. So from that curb on that side, you kind of tuck it right in, and you want to get right up to this curb here, and just sort of follow it as it sweeps right the way around. So as it starts to come to here, if you sort of stand here and look like straight in that direction now, you can see like the straight line. So as soon as you start to get to this point, you want to be straightening up here, and then this is a really sort of tricky bit to kind of get right, because you've got this kind of fast left, and then a fast right, and then another fast left. So this is what they call the S's. You can see there's a lot of different circuit layouts here. We're walking the full international circuit of 350. So again, tight round there, then you straighten up here, and then same thing on this curve, but it's a right-hander this time. So you tuck in, and the problem you've got here is these curbs are quite high for karts. So, you know, if you start getting up on these curves, they might not look that high, but they're really, really unsettling if you put your wheels over them. So, again, really tight on here, and then really trying to keep the power down as much as you can. And then this one, you want to kind of just clip the edge here. You can see where people have gone over it just along here. So if you look here, you want to just kind of get your left tyre just before it starts to raise, get it right in there, and then that should, in theory, sweep you right over here. And then what you don't want to do is end up on here, because it's really bumpy and a bit crappy on there. So you want to bring it right out, and then what I aim to do is kind of maybe just touch this with the tyres, because you can see it's really bumpy. It doesn't look bumpy from that angle, but if you look at it from this angle, you can see where it's really bouncy. And again, like with the karts, with them having a lot smaller wheels than cars, it's really bouncy going along there. So ideally you want to stay off the red and white and just keep it just on the tarmac there. Okay, and then it's back up here, and then if needed, you can probably squeeze a gear change depending on your gearing. You can squeeze another gear change in up here just to get that extra pull before you do this fast lefter into the lunar bend around here. So again, so flat all the way right up this edge here. You want the kart to be about here, and then as we approach the left-hander here, you smash on the brakes here, and then you want to drop a gear here. Okay, so for anyone that is first time watching, I race a gearbox kart, so you know it has the shifter on the right side of the wheel. You'll have seen on the onboards, not like your Rev and Go 100s. It's a 125 with a gearbox on it. So yeah, so down one gear here, and then this from, you know, if we look at it from this angle, looks like quite a tight corner, but it's actually quite a fast corner. So we're wide here, and then we go tight around here. And if you can get this right, it feels really nice because it's a really fast sort of winding corner. So down one gear, back on the power through this corner here, and then you kind of aim into what for the right hand side here, and you want to hug the curb here again. So down one gear, back on the power here, and then if you get it right, again, depending on what gear ratios you're running, it varies. You know, it could be different. Every driver could be different. I'm just giving you my version of events. Being, you know, I'm not the fastest driver on the grid by all means, but I'll tell you how it goes for me. So down another gear here, and then you want to hug this curb all the way around and sort of protect yourself. So try and keep the kart here, and then you can see after this corner, you kind of want to let the kart wash out a little bit. So maintaining as much speed as you can. You can see the big sweeping corner here, and then this section here is really quite tricky, and a lot of guys struggle around here because it's like a double right-hander onto the back straight. So sweep around here, wash out a little bit onto this left curb here, you can see. So the kart should be right here by now. And then normally you don't really go that far over. If you can carry enough speed, you can get the kart about here. And then the idea is you want to make this sort of double kink right onto the straight, sort of one big sweep, rather than having to do two turns. So you want to keep it pinned in, and then basically at this point you're accelerating whilst turning. So again, you want to kind of just hug towards this curb, and then you can see a little bit further round in a second there's another curve as we go into the main long straight. So by this point, you've come from close to that curve, and then you've swung it over here, and then you want to be sort of around this point to get the fastest line through. And then, like I say, you want to make it sort of one big sweeping corner. Not the worst thing you can do to scrub a load of speed off is come around this corner, then straighten up here, and then turn again. Because you're just scrubbing the speed off. You want to keep it one big sweeping motion, so you've got a constant acceleration of speed to lead onto the big long straight at the back. Again, you want to be quite close to this curve, just protecting any overtaking, because if somebody gets a bad exit out of the first part of the bend over there, someone gets a bad exit, there's a massive opportunity onto this straight for overtaking, and we'll probably see a lot of overtaking happen on this straight on the race day. So here we go onto the main straight. This is also the start finish straight. You can see the I think the race control box is up there. Because here's the start finish. You can see the grid here now, what we're coming up to. You can see the bike numbers, car numbers. We'll be using these ones here. Kids are doing donuts on the go-kart. Nice. Yeah, so this is the start-finish line here. So by this point, you'll have come around that corner, and then here you'll be sort of aiming towards the left side of the track, and then it's flat, flat, flat all the way, right the way down. And then you normally hit, well, again, depending on gearing and whatnot, you want to be hitting 6th gear probably just just after the start finish line, I think, is about an ideal point to get maximum speed. You know, I spoke about today when we changed the gearing twice. We went longer twice. We went from top speed of 81 mile an hour, then we went a top speed of, I think it was 84 or 83 mile an hour, and then we went up the gearing again, and then we were peaking out at about 86, 87, just before the right kink onto over the hill. So again, you want to be on this left side here, all the way down the straight, really fast section of the circuit. Yeah, it's probably one of the fastest on the calendar in terms of top speed, and this right-hander up this hill now, where you can see the other people are walking, probably one of the fastest corners we'll do all year. And as I mentioned before, if you're not scared going round this corner, then there's something wrong, because you should be scared. So at this point, the kart's about here, doing 80 plus mile an hour, and the tricky part is where this right cone is. There's a bit of a sort of dip in the circuit, in the tarmac, and if you don't get through here right, it's really unsettling on the kart. And when you're doing that kind of speed, the last thing you want is the kart to be bouncing around. So you might not be able to see it just by looking, but pretty much where this cone is here. So obviously the fastest line is right the way down the left. So right the way down the left, down that straight, and then here, right across where we're stood, and then around here, and then up the hill. But literally right here, you can't really tell, but the tarmac's really uneven. So I've tried a few different lines. I've tried driving around it here. You can almost see it here, but it's really uneven here. A few of the other drivers have said that the smoothest line is right tucked in on the inside here. It's really hard to show how unsettling it is. It probably doesn't look like much here, but at the speed you're doing, it definitely makes a difference. And then you tuck right in here. Yeah, you really can't make it out. So we tuck right in here again. You still, obviously the turn in there scrubs a bit of speed off, but you're still doing about 75 up here. So as we go up the hill, you've got the crest at the top, so you actually can't see the other side. And then you want to really bring it, carrying as much speed as possible up the hill. It will push out towards the left here, towards the grass. And I mentioned before, I had a bad accident here last year. So as I came round this corner, I seized my engine up here, and as you can see, against the barrier here, in terms of runoff space, it's like the runoff space from the circuit is like 3 strides, you know, maybe 3 meters. So again, coming around that corner is scary, because the runoff there, you're hitting that wall at high speeds, it's gonna hurt, you know. So yeah, at this point, you're probably around here on the circuit. You've come up the hill, tight around the corner there, and then pushed it out over here, still carrying a lot of speed. And then as it starts to level out, your speed should gain back up to around the 80 mark here. And then this is sort of where you're holding on at this point. And then as we go back down the hill in a second, you'll see you're downhill and you're at full throttle. It's a very fast part of the circuit over this hill. It's a very good feeling when you get it right, but scary at the same time. So, you know, again, flat out all the way up, all the way down, all down this left hand side here. And then as we see the circuit start to curve back around to the right, we want to start to make our way over. Again, I've seen overtakes around here by brave souls, back down the hill here, so back over to the right. And then, you know, you're coming down this hill doing 70 plus, maybe 80 mile an hour. And then it's just sort of hold on right turn. And, you know, if your tyres are anything not near temperature, the back starts to push out and slip here. You know, and at that kind of speed, you want the car to be quite settled. Maybe a little bit of slip, but not too much. And then you can almost see at this point, so you want to be quite tight here. And then as we get down the hill where it starts to flatten out, to turn right back onto the pit straight, you can see the pit entrance there on the left at the end. That's kind of what you want to be aiming for at this point. So as I come down here, the kart's around here. Again, the fastest line, we kind of go up, start going all over to the left hand side of the circuit now. And then so we can come down the hill here. I think that's about right. And then this corner where I nearly put it in the wall earlier today, it's actually faster than it looks. If you look at this corner from here, so we're gonna just look at that. Looks really tight, but it's actually not. It's quite deceiving. Obviously, you're coming down here at speed. And then you want to be late on the anchors, as late as you can, obviously. But the problem is if you go too late, the kart gets unsettled. So you want to be on the brakes around probably maybe about this point, maybe just before. And then you want the kart right the way over here. And you can kind of see, if you can see around here now, it's a lot faster at this point than it looks from up there. Again, it's really deceiving. And then what you kind of do is you kind of throw it in, and what's really nice about this corner, if we just miss this kind of dark dip here, you can get the kart right over this. So both right wheels will go right over here, and then we're sort of ready for the pit straight then. You know, earlier I was trying to come as fast as I could down the hill and carry as much speed as possible round this bend, and it washed me out a little bit too far. And you can see here just how bumpy these are. Like, you can just see how bumpy they are. So yeah, I nearly had could have had a bad one there, but at least there's a bit of runoff area. And again, the bumps around here are not friendly at all. And then that kind of brings us back onto the start-finish straight. Again, you want to be just pretty much, you want your tyres to be just near enough touching this, using as much of the circuit as you can. And then back up here on the left-hand side. And then it's that fast right, sort of longer bend, which is where we started the video. Normally coming round here, you come round, obviously you come down the hill in 6th gear, you drop 2 into 4th onto here, straight back on the power, and then back into 5th, and then by the time you've hit 5th, depending on your gearing, you can drop 1, or you might have to drop 2 to get a good pull around this loopy bend here. And that is the track walk pretty much complete, and that brings Friday to a close. So again, I'm going to try and keep the video a bit shorter than it was last time. It was too long. There was a lot of waffling and stuff, but yeah, I'll do maybe a bit less on boards. I'll try and show highlights rather than just letting the videos run. Or if you like the videos to run, put a comment, let me know, and I can do a few different you know, copies of it or whatever. But no, yeah, we'll call it a night now because it's dark and we need to go chill. Another practice day tomorrow. Hopefully it's dry. The weather's a bit unsure. Yeah, we'll check back in the morning. So morning campers, we're going to go on the track in a minute. Looks like it might rain soon, so we're going to get the sessions in early. Just going to try and tidy up the driving a little bit. We've not changed anything since the last run yesterday, so check it out. Yeah, try and get a bit tidier. Conditions are a bit cooler today, so we'll see how that treats the tyres when we're out there. We'll see how we get on. Okay, just getting from the first practice of Saturday. Conditions are a lot different today. A lot of temperature in the tyres, so so I might have to make a few adjustments. I'll probably go down on the pressures a little bit, try and tidy that up. And I didn't put my rib protector on, so my abdomen is in a lot of pain. I need to not forget that next time. In the meantime, the 125 Classic guys are going out now, so we'll go and have a look. So I'll chat back in a little bit later on. See the 250 guys are on the grid getting ready to go now. Yeah, and then I don't know if I was recording on that onboard, but if I did record on that onboard, you'll see from the last video Mick went out to run a piston in and put it in the wall on the first lap. I was behind him, so I'll go and check on him, see if he's alright. It looks alright, he was running around, but yeah, hopefully no injury, not too much damage on his car, so we'll go and check that out. All good? Okay, just a quick check-in after that run. I'll show some on board, and I know Christian, the cameraman's been helping out, getting some footage of us out there doing a bit as well, so I'll have showed a bit of that. Yeah, so I didn't really change anything that time. I put my ribs on, and I think just naturally it gives you a bit more confidence. So we're back to the times we were doing yesterday, which is sort of like mid 53s. I know that the quicker guys are probably about a second quicker than us in the 52s. So yeah, we're going to try and figure out, maybe have another look at the data, see if we can figure out where we're slow, where we can find something, and then maybe we do some adjustments on the car, I don't know. But yeah, at the minute we're at a consistent mid 53, which is good, but not great. So we'll keep plodding on, we'll probably go again soon, and then yeah, hopefully we can break the 52 barrier. I'd like to break the 53.5 barrier by the end of the day, but race day is always different. It's, you know, it completely changes on race day, so we'll see how we get on.
Vibrating out.
No.
Throttle alright.
Okay, so we decided last minute on the run that we just did to put a new piston in. So obviously it wasn't any sort of pace for a while there, but you know, we ran the new piston in with a new ring on it, and then yeah, it seemed to have a little bit more bottom end going over the corner where I seemed to be slowing down a bit. So we've just come up further up the circuit to have a look at the classics and sort of see where their lines are around the lunar bend here. So there's like a nice bit of banking. You can walk right the way around the circuit and have a look. So what we'll do is we'll go up the hill a little bit and have a look from up there. Really good spot for spectating up here. You can see quite a lot of the circuit up here, got the guys going around. So you can see Neil's out on the 125s. His times were slightly better than mine, so I'm going to have a look where he's going through this section. had an accident here. Looks like the throttle got stuck on maybe. Also, you can see from over here just how bumpy it is. You see a lot of the carts hopping around, so you can see how unsettling it is for the cart. But like we said in the video last night on the track walk, it's quite tight around this curb here. You can see here Neil coming through now, and then it should be a little bit wider around there, almost to this curb, and then again that should be one full sweeping corner onto the back straight. So we walk round and see if we can get some high speed action at the back. Thinking if we get a bit closer. The session might be finishing soon. You can see how long, just how long the straight is here. It's a 5-minute walk down the straight. Yellow flag out here for that car that's in the wall over there. Hopefully he's okay. Oh yeah, he seems to be okay. He's walking down to the marshal post. You can see the marshal getting a checkered flag out, end of sessions, just finishing now. So yeah, you can kind of walk right the way across this, if we go back up the hill here, you can walk right the way along and sort of see the full circuit. Yeah, so there's a nice little path up here and you can walk through. You can walk through and sort of sit and you can see all the circuit from up here. It's a really good spectator spot if you want to come and watch ever. So yeah, we'll head back now. I think we've got one more session of the day. The rain's managed to hold off, which is really good. And then yeah, I might do one more session on that piston that I've just ran in. And then we'll hopefully be ready for race day tomorrow. So I'll head back to the pits now. I'll check in again later. Okay, so we've just been called up for the last session of the day. So we've changed the gearing one more time, and then we're going to try that and see how we get on. Last session, let's go. Okay, so I'm just checking in. I'm a bit high up there. Just checking in after the day's practice. The last session was really good, and the kart kind of felt a bit more responsive, a bit more power out the corners with the slightly shorter gearing. We were still hitting good top speed around the back straight, which was nice. And we improved a little bit. I said earlier I wanted to get into the lap times more like early 53s. I think I did a 53.2 maybe, which is really good, so I'm happy with that. I'm just cooking some food now. I'm gonna chill out for the evening. I'll probably do another track walk in a bit with the kids, and then yeah, I'll check back in the morning. Cool. So good morning. I've just had the driver's briefing. That was loud. Yeah, we've just had the driver's briefing now. Briefed on the day, so the practices. The first transponder checks and practice will be going out in just a sec. It's nearly 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna get myself ready. Get out there, get the transponder check done this morning. And I'm starting on the back row in the first heat, so 10th, and then I've got two sort of mid to the front, two second rows, 4th and 4th in heat 2 and heat 3. So that's how my day is looking. Okay, so just coming from the first race, the 125 Classics run. We're going to go and have a quick watch of them now. Yeah, the weather conditions weren't ideal. We went out on slicks after umming and ahhing if it was wet enough. Ultimately, it was kind of dry, so slicks ended up being the right option, I think. It rained a little bit in the middle on sort of like lap 4 and 5. You've seen a few of the guys come off in front, but yeah, and then it kind of went dry again towards the end, and we managed to do some good times. I think I finished 4th in that one. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that was a 4. So we'll watch a little bit of the 125s are out now, see how people are getting on. Someone's just had a bad crash down there.
How long did you break?
It'll be until probably an hour or so.
Before you're next.
Yeah. Someone's just had a bad off down there. He's there leaning on the fence now.
these for a bit. I've got something in my eye. I'll watch these for a bit, and then we'll be out again soon. So I didn't get much on board on that one. I forgot to put the helmet camera on. But yeah, I kind of, when I spoke before about how the left-hander into the long bend at the back, I lost the back end pushing it a little bit too fast. There was like a little bit of rain in the middle of the session, which is not ideal. I was with the kind of front pack, and I was hoping to kind of cling onto someone's bumper and hopefully, you know, at least get a podium, because I think I've ended up with another 4th, maybe 5th. So I've got a 4th and a 5th so far. Yeah, it's slippy. A little bit of rain, and there's just that one or two corners at the back that are really tough to get right. You end up sort of pushing it, losing the front end, turning in, or losing the back end, trying to pull the power down one or the other. But good news is, cart's still in one piece, doing all right. Still a bit of heat in the tyres. Yeah, so we're in a good place. Must try harder. We'll go again soon. Whew. Good job, man.
Yeah. Good driving there.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
Good start.
Low on this corner here.
Who?
That's where I was catching up. All
You was into this right.
In this corner here.
Yeah.
You was slow. That's where I was getting on my time.
Okay.
Tapping you on this corner here.
Coming down here.
No.
The left.
Yeah.
I know I'm shit through there. I've tried so many different lines. I know that I'm shit through there. Okay, just a quick update after heat 3. I was on the second row at the start. It was dry all the way through, quite sunny actually, which was really good. I got managed to get a really good start. Held the lead for I think two maybe 3 laps, and then just I'm still struggling on the left-hander up the hill. Definitely my slowest point. Mick the Greek told me he was behind me, and that's definitely where I'm a bit slower. So need to work out a better line through there. And then we're lacking a little bit of top end speed going up the straight. A couple of guys managed to get past there. Might need to maybe clean my lines up entering the straight, or don't really know what to do there. Obviously we don't want to lean it off too much because we'll end up borderline unsafe. We want to stay safe and stay in one piece. We don't want to be in the wall, thanks. Okay, so got a bit of time now. I'm happy with the kart, so I'll probably check the pressures again before we go out for the final. We'll see where we've qualified, maybe second row again. Hopefully we can get a good start and finish the final in one piece and maybe get a podium. We'll see. Okay, so we'll get some footage of the final next, hopefully. I'm conscious of my helmet cam dying, but I'll check back in after that. All good. The weather's really nice, by the way. It finally got sunny, so we're good to go. So just a quick one. I'm going out for the final now. Qualified third, so we're on the second row. I'll see you on the other side. Hopefully it goes well.
it's quite late now. We've just not long left to circuit. So I didn't mention this earlier in the video, but we did. We hired the pro karts after the meeting this weekend. There was a few of us, about 20 of us, went out on the pro karts, which was a lot of fun. So we're all knackered now, on our way home. And yeah, so the main final, Formula C final, was alright. We did change the jetting on the engine a little bit to try and maybe get a little bit more power, but it could have potentially been different gearing. But then, you know, the problem we've got is if we put the gearing a bit shorter, or well, let's say if we make the gearing longer to get a better top end, we kind of lose a bit of pull out the corners, and then if we get a better pull out the corners, we kind of lose that top end. So it's all about getting the balance right. However, on the positive, we've had no disasters all weekend, nothing's broke all weekend. The cart's done really well, handling wise and all that kind of stuff. Everything's good. And we managed to get a fourth in the main final. You've probably seen on the video Mick putting it a bit wide on the pit straight entrance at the bottom of the hill. He was going well up until that point, but yeah, so we're happy with a 4. At least we finished this round, and then we've got 3 weeks now until the next round at Shennington, so we'll go again then. In the meantime, if you make it this far, hopefully the video's not ended up being too long and you've not been sat there for 3 hours watching me. Hopefully it's like sub 2 hours or something with a bit of luck. But yeah, we'll go again in a few weeks, and drop us a comment under the video, usual YouTube stuff. Yeah, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.